asking? Is it a sin to confess?
No, I'm saying, I know that you don't have to be focused on your sin, but do you have any problem with confessing sin to God?
If a person wants to confess their sin to God and they tell me that, but I want to confess, I guess the first thing I would ask them is, why do they want to confess? Because it isn't about whether it's okay. It's about, is their thoughts about sin hurting their life? And so if you want to confess because your conscience is stained with your sin all the time, it isn't about whether it's right or wrong. It's that having a sin-stained conscience will cause you suffering all the days of your life. Right? Now listen, if I see something in my life that isn't the fruit of life, and I don't really call this confession, but if I see something in my life that I don't like, if I see some kind of fear, or I see some type of thing that I do to try to bring myself peace when I'm stressed out, I'd talk to God about what's going on in my life and the fear. That I don't call that confession. Now, if I'm engaging in confession in the sense of trying to cleanse myself by telling God about my wrongdoing, then that is contrary to what the gospel teaches, which is that you've been cleansed from your sin. Hebrews chapter 8 and chapter 10 says that the whole purpose of Jesus shedding his blood was so our conscience would be purged from our sin, so that we would no longer think about it, right?
But you still talk to him about it.
Absolutely. I talk to God about everything.
Okay.
But I don't talk to God from the standpoint of,
I got you.
please forgive me. I don't talk to God from the standpoint of shame or guilt or I lack or I'm not enough or he's disappointed. I talk to God from the standpoint of, man, I want this fear in my heart to be removed. I mean, at the end of the day, any sin that comes out of anybody's life, fear is the father of it. Fear is the father of whatever sin could come out of somebody, or whatever fruit of death that isn't consistent with God's life. Fear is the father of that, right? Lack is the father of that. And so at the end of the day, if I'm feeling fear and lack, absolutely I'm talking to Daddy about it. But I'm not talking to God like, Lord, I'm a pathetic loser who's just a sinner. Please forgive me. No. That is contradicting what God would say, right? But most certainly, when I was learning how to ride my bike on a two-wheeler and I fell over and I scraped my knee, I got up and ran to Daddy's arms for comfort. So most certainly, if I'm filled with fear and I see that fear is causing me to be offended or causing me to lash out at people or causing me to steal or causing me to gossip or causing me to be envious, I am most certainly talking to God. Not about per se what I'm doing, but I'm talking to God about whatever fear is in my heart that's causing me to do those things. Right? And I'm talking to him about what he's done to conquer death, to conquer lack, to give me life, because I know that's what's going to strengthen my heart. So if you want to confess your sin, I mean, you can do whatever you want. God's not going to judge you negatively. The question is it good for your heart what you're doing when you have the confession of sin in your mind? Right?
You know what's helped clear